Showing up now and right. Critical is going to start to work on. Yeah. You finish 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. Raise your fingers. These fingers are not that difficult as compared to fingers. Little tricky. Family identity pages and 1 second corrections. Errors allowed. You see, whenever you feel doubts and good. Maximum the children are solving on their own. Because it's all about practice. Strategies would only be in the first part of the class.
So if you see the first part of the class, so that are the main strategies. Don't have to see the entire exercise. Or you can also put this while playing the lecture. So you can see the first part, that's strategies, and then let it happen, let it play. And you do the exercise along with that. And you will, so both the things will be done. Otherwise, there will be a lot of waste of time.
After completion of this book, like I have completed extent of this book. So which book should I prefer for solving more questions?
Okay, I gave one book to this girl, what's her name? Sadhvika. I'll take it from her. Hopefully she'll give it now.
Because like when you got an test, it's like 13 out of 15 or 11 out of 15, goes up and down. I think the error should be 14 out of 15, like it should go down. Okay.
When is your exam?
Exam
Which class? Which IPM?
Ignorance is 18 and other one is 28. 25. But we have something on 8-3 also. 8-3 jumping.
Start difference. I think they all have an exam. How are you, Rahul? Rahul?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Can you see the screen? The word file?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here we are starting with this critical reasoning today. Radesh, take out your notebook. Rahul, please switch on your camera.
When?
Sorry?
Oh, there are two files. So what do we do? Should start at the we should start. What's it? We'll follow that. This one.
Agrima? Agrima, please switch on your camera. Agrima, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. 1 minute. Good morning. I'll switch it on.
Yeah. Okay, so over here, this critical reasoning. So what we are exactly covering is, we'll identify the meaning, okay, and we'll identify the situations and what situations do we need to apply, and of course the strategy. So these are the three things which we are opting, and our main thing will revolve around our strategies. Okay, that is what we are here for. So you can see what your critical reasoning would mean. Rahul, anything you want to add? What is critical reasoning as per your knowledge?
Anything like which involves like thinking, like analytical thinking about something.
Great. Anything which involves analytical thinking, right? That is, you need to analyze now something simple, straightforward. What do you think?
one is like thinking and one is like we have to take up precautions. Like it is someone critical situations.
Okay.
So it is like a dangerous situation, you can say, or yeah, breakup situation. I'm just about the situation. Dangerous.
Okay, so she says that they will have to identify the situation over here, that what type of situation is it? What do you think, Adish? Anything? You think the same? Okay. Aditya, any idea, what do you think, what is critical reasoning? Your viewpoint.
uh, logic based answers.
I agree with you. Logic based answers. Rahul says analyzing. What's your name? Mansi. Mansi says it's about the situation that you have to critically see the situation. Agrima, what do you think?
Same things, ma'am. The analytical and logical part. To examine something or analyze and break down something in a very, yeah, and being in critical meaning in a very severe manner and without actually it says that also, but like how usually criticism, it doesn't involve any emotion as such. So
Okay, I understood. That is you meant in terms of the not dealing with the emotion, rather being logical enough, right? That's what you want to revolve around. Perfect. So if we have to tell me one thing, Rahul, if you have to critically analyze a poem or a sonnet or anything, right? So do you think so it will be negative in its tone or it can be positive?
Now it depends on how you're thinking. It could be positive, whereas it could be negative. It could be positive in the way if you're uh, like looking for something like figure of speeches. I don't think so. Figure of speeches can be negative, and
Yeah.
like the rhyming scheme. But if you look from a negative point of view, then you can always find negative things.
No doubt about it. Perfect. So you can see some of the strategies over here. This is something, just the steps which we think that is, we need to, see the language in terms of the clarity and all, observe, okay, and relevant information can be applied from the facts, recognize, interpret, recognize, and then again you are drawing some conclusions through it. Okay, so obviously when we bring it into practice, then it will be much easier. This is important. So you see this construction of an argument. So whenever you are arguing, in the sense, whenever you are critically analyzing, so you have to identify two things, the two components you have to identify in your exam. That is, one is your facts and the other one is your result. So it will revolve around facts as well as result. So you can just write it down in your notebook. When you write critical reasoning, so you can just divide it under two heads. That's your facts, so that we can draw more information about it. Facts, and the other one is conclusion. Conclusion, you can write them in the bracket. Conclusion as in your result. I think that's pretty clear. And facts as in your premise, which they call it. Two things. I'm sorry. Sneha, can you switch on your camera, please? Yes.
Words like spelling or
Yeah. Okay, so there is also a possibility, usually you would find that your argument would consist of facts as well as your conclusion. Okay, or we need to draw from here. Otherwise, you can just write it down, second head, that is argument. Argument, and you draw two heads under that. May also be based on assumptions. That is, you are assuming something. Or, and may also lead to an inference. Pahi,
Yes.
switch on the camera. Okay, Pahi, we have just started with critical reasoning. Okay, and we were just discussing that, critical reasoning is all about your logical thinking, or you need to analyze, you need to bring an approach to it. And all these things you were, identifying till now. I'm just repeating something. Okay, Satvika is also here. Just quickly recap. Okay, so are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is all about your analytical thinking and all. And then we discussed about the construction of an argument. That is, you will be having two components over there. That is your premise as well as conclusion. And conclusion, we know that's the, the result. And facts are the basics. So remember this thing, through a premise, you would be reaching the conclusion. Okay, so premise would lead to a conclusion. This arrow thing has to be very clear. That first you draw facts and then it will lead to conclusion. And then they're saying that an argument over here also, this was an argument, may also, the second approach. This is the first one, second one. Argument may be based on assumptions too, that you have just assumed something. There is no fact attached to it. Okay, there is no fact. Okay, it's just an assumptions. It may be based on assumptions and that may lead to an inference. Why I'm identifying these two things, this will come in your exam. You will see later on in the questions. That is your question based on fact or is your question based on an assumption? Okay, so if it is based on a fact, Agrima, then it may lead to a
I'm sorry, I didn't.
okay, if your question, if your argument is based on the fact, then it may lead to the conclusion.
Okay.
Okay, if there is a fact, just understand something. See, if there is a fact, then you can conclude something. Yes, but then they're saying that if it is assumption, it's just that I assumed onto something, then it may lead to an inference. Are we clear with these two things, basic things? Clear? I'll just show you the board also. And this is something very important. If you can see over here, I think it's not very clear, like this. Critical reasoning, the first thing is like your argument thing. That is the argument, facts, that is may lead to conclusion. And argument may also be based on assumptions, which may lead to an inference. These two things, and then we'll revolve our class around. Is everyone clear with this? Pahi, Sneha, Agrima, Rahul, are you all clear with this? Aditya?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So I'm changing that. Okay, now we come to the other one. That what exactly is an assumption? Just quickly look at that. Anyone in their own language, Africa? Do you want to explain assumption?
Assumption is a preconceived notion that we form for a situation.
Preconceived notion that we form for the
For a particular situation.
For a particular situation.
Or facts. Or
I
logical thinking.
yes, and that is what Satvika, same thing which is being mentioned over here. That is basically it's an idea and assumption. That's an idea, and you are basically trying to arrive at the stated conclusion, which is there. Okay, so no supporting evidence in the premises. In other words, it's an implied premise. What does this mean? Implied premise. So let's look at the example, then you maybe understand. So let's see the difference between premise. Conclusion is simple. That is, we are concluding something. Let's look at the example of your premise and an assumption. You just have to identify the difference between premise and assumption. Rahul, can you read out the example, please?
For premise, Jake's fingerprints were found on the new murder weapon.
Perfect.
Conclusion, therefore he must be the killer. Assumption, nobody else touched the weapon before or after Jake did.
Are we all clear with this? Simple. So we can identify things. Premise, it's pretty much clear that you said it clearly that this is what you found. This is a fact. This cannot be changed. Adish, are you getting it? Premise is a fact. Remember this, please. Conclusion, you know it, that what are you concluding from that? He must be the killer. That's why its fingerprints are found. Right? And assumption is that you don't know. You're just assuming something. Clear? Okay. So you can see this over here. If you want for your exams, if you guys think you can write an example, you take a call for yourself. Pahi, Agrima, are you writing? Okay. If you write an example, it's easier during exams. You just have to see quickly and go for an exam. Yeah. This is the book. If you want to get it Xerox or something, you can get it. You got the Xerox. If I can proceed, Aditya, Pahi, Agrima, then I shall do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, or less. But we'll do it in detail. Yeah. This is something where we might lose marks. Just to yes. Okay. Okay, so over here, let's see this, how to work out the assumption. So you can see over here, the assumption is an implicit premise without which a conclusion cannot be reached. Let's talk about this. What is an assumption? What are they trying to say? It's an implicit premise without which a conclusion cannot be reached. Anyone? If you can just decode.
These are the part of the fact that is assumed other part. Like in this one, we said that Chuck's finger was online.
Okay.
Or the but like it can be that he touched it after someone touched.
Yes.
So the assumption is just saying that Jack is the killer because we are thinking that nobody touched it.
Exactly. Exactly. Mansi nailed it. Mansi was like that, there is a kind of a thing that, it might be, he might be the killer, he might not be the killer, but there is something, an evidence found, but not exactly as a fact. So that is what she's trying to explain over here. She's saying that's an implicit premise, but we cannot read the conclusion. I cannot still say that he's the killer. So I'm just waiting for that, right, to come out. So that is what your assumption you'll be able to work out. Now think of an argument as a simple sum over here. One premise plus another premise plus assumption. Are you guys good? Are you guys comfortable with math? Everyone? Pahi, Agrima, you're okay with equations and all, no? So can anybody explain this equation? Think about it. How many assumptions are there? Equals to 10, we have to bring it. Rahul, how many? 2 into 1 plus 3 into how many? Another premise means how much? Mansi? 1 plus x into how many assumptions?
One assumption.
1?
Assumption.
Are you sure?
X is a number like
2 plus
many
3.
assumptions can be there.
Okay, then how will you reach the conclusion 10?
5 assumptions.
Exactly. Got it? It's just a way to understand. So basically they are saying, trying to say is that you have to identify from an equation if there is an assumption or if there is a fact. So that is when job it is. So you may get confused with the inference over there. You may get confused with the fact over there. So that is what they are trying to say. It's a very simple term. As the conclusion changes, X must change. So they are saying in short, what they're trying to say from the equation, that in case you have a premise, I have 1 fact, I have 2 facts. Tomorrow you say I have 2 facts. Okay, and I have 10 conclusions over here. So they're saying in case your conclusion change, so automatically my assumption will also change. So my everything will depend upon my conclusion. If my conclusion would change, my assumption would change. Are we clear with this? So that's the logic which they're trying to place. You don't need to learn, don't need to write. If you want to, you can, but no need.
A question like this won't be
No. It's just a way to explain. So you can see this for example over here. Pahi, would you read out the example, please?
From all the 3.
Yes, please. Jake's fingerprints.
Premise: Jake's fingerprints were found on the murder weapon. Conclusion: yet he cannot be the killer. Assumption: some evidence of the involvement of another person exists.
Are we clear with this? Since my conclusion changed, even though you feel it's a fact that there is a fingerprint on the murder weapon, but you have still not concluded that he is the murderer. Okay, so now you're saying that he cannot be the killer. So automatically I have assumed it that there might be an involvement of another person. Are we clear? Pahi, Agrima, Sneha, Aditya?
Yes,
Aditya, everyone? Okay. Rahul?
Yes, ma'am.
Rahul, okay, just explain this thing, what not to do when working out the assumption. What are you not supposed to do?
right out of the context.
By reading through the premise, conclusion, or assumption, like do I directly tell what I know?
By reading through.
Oh.
You can read out the example and explain.
Philosophers play an important role in the intellectual development of society. Therefore, they influence people's thinking.
Okay.
Philosophers are crucial to the intellectual development of people.
Okay. So what is one thing which you're not supposed to do when working out the assumption? Think.
It is not a necessity, like it is even a necessity to
Exactly.
Yeah, the conclusion is not compulsory to be like influence.
Yes. Are we clear? Conclusions need not have this. And so that is why they're saying that crucial to the intellectual. That's how they assumed it, that this is something. So rephrasing the premise does not make it as an assumption. Got it? Is everyone clear? Assuming would only be this thing, which we did over here. Some evidence of the involvement of another person exists. That's an assuming, that you assume something. This is not an assumption. I'm just assuming that, this is crucial to this. And then I'm saying play an important role in the intellectual. So you're not supposed to rephrase your premise. Please write it down in your notebook. This is something important. Whenever you are, what not to do when working out the assumption, you are not supposed to rephrase a premise. You can just write it simply. Do not rephrase a premise. Remember in your exams. Aditya, have you written?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all you have to write. Do not replace a premise. Okay, so you can see this assumption 2 also. Society needs intellectual development. You can see over here, this does not support the conclusion. So definitely it's not an assumption. So you can write it down. It should support an assumption, should support the conclusion. Please write it down. Assumption. Aditya, please write it down. Assumption should support the conclusion. Assumption should support the conclusion. Third thing, you can see over here, may not happen at all. So you can see this, it contradicts the premise. Yes, please. Aditya, you want to say something?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you can write down the third thing. Do not contradict the premise. Do not contradict the premise. If there is a fact, you are not supposed to write a contradictory statement. That cannot be your assumption. If there is a fact about the planets, you have to stick to that. You cannot assume something. Do not contradict the premise. Done? Pahi, are you clear? Anything, any confusion? Agrima, Sneha, Agrima, any confusion? Rahul, Aditya?
No, ma'am.
Okay, over here for critical reasoning, tell me there and then. You want me to repeat something? Okay, because this is something, if you get stuck with something, you won't be able to solve your answers. It is a little critical only. Okay, so you have to be very careful with this topic. Rahul, can you switch on your camera, please? Even Agrima, or maybe I'm not. able to-
Actually, I could get disconnected in any minute because actually I'm shifting. So this
Okay.
basically, yeah.
Okay, okay. Just let us know once. Okay.
Also, ma'am, my camera is already on.
Okay, maybe there's some problem. I could not see any all of these.
You have this a very small
This one?
arrow, a white arrow near no. In the video gallery. Yeah, that.
This one? Oh. So you can see this society believes in what philosophers say, yes, because it validates the conclusion. So you have to ensure that it validates the conclusion. Please write it down. Do ensure that it validates the conclusion. Rahul, can you read out your 4 sentences, whatever you wrote?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Please.
Oh, rephrasing a premise does not make it an assumption.
Okay.
An irrelevant statement that does not support the conclusion is not an assumption.
Rahul, have you written it directly from your screen?
Yeah.
You didn't write it in short? I've been
No. Yeah, I know you've been telling, but I already wrote it when you were saying. So I thought it's
okay. So just write it in short because in exams you don't need that much. Okay, you just have to be quick. You just have to
could you
give
just
it.
repeat once?
Yeah, sure. Maybe Mansi can read out. You can.
Not rephrase.
Or could I write it in short myself?
Yeah, of course. Write it down. Take 2 minutes, boys and girls. Neha, Pahli, finish it off. Agrima. And then Rahul will hear you. Guys, done? Rahul, can you please tell me quickly?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Rephrasing a premise does not make an assumption.
Okay.
A statement which is irrelevant and does not support the conclusion is not a assumption.
Okay.
A contradicting statement to the premise is not an assumption.
Perfect.
And the assumption addresses and validates the conclusion.
So you need to ensure that your assumption has to validate the conclusion. Adesh, are you clear? Okay. Is everyone clear? Sneha, you clear? Perfect. Let's go with the other part. Let's come with the main thing. Satvika was asking this only. Right? So what is an inference? So again, if we talk about an inference over here, this is something which is derived from the premise, okay, or conclusion, or both together. That is what we did just now when we wrote the second part of this, understanding that an argument may be based on an assumption, which may lead to an inference. So technically, it is being derived from the premise or the conclusion. So you can just write it in your notebook. That is, you can write inference on the top. And under that, you can write down derived from the premise or conclusion or both. Either from the premise or from the conclusion or from both the things. So let us see what exactly it means through an example. So in here you can see it is an implied conclusion. In short, we say that's an implied conclusion because something which is already there as a fact. Right? So it's technically an implied one. Right? You brought it. So we saw the first example. Satvika, you read out the examples, please. Yeah, Jake's.
Jake's fingerprints were found on the murder weapon.
Okay.
Conclusion, therefore, he must be the killer. Assumption, no one else touched the weapon before or after Jake did. Inference, at some point, Jake handled the weapon.
Are we clear, Sneha? So we are literally saying it that inference is something which is somehow related to the premise or the conclusion. We are not saying it is being based on your assumption. Please remember this thing. So you can see over here that we are saying that he must be the killer. However, we are saying that at some point Jake handled the weapon. That's an inference.
Conclusion is something that comes with the paragraph,
Mhm.
and inference is something before, right?
Yes. Premise, yes. Are we clear? Sneha, how would I say premise is a? Give me a short form for premise. Premise is a fact. Premise is a fact. Okay. And conclusion is the Sneha, you wrote it, bete? A conclusion is the result. Fact is a premise is the fact, right? And assumptions, we know it. And inference, how would I say the inference? What's an inference? It's an implied. Sneha, inference is an implied conclusion. Okay, please write it down, boys and girls. Inference is an implied conclusion. Aditya, quickly tell me any, okay, I'll ask you when I give you the question. It's okay, Aditya. I'll give you the question now, then I'll ask you to find out the inference for the conclusion. Agrima, are we clear with this? Pahi? Sneha, show me your notebook, where all you wrote, quickly. Good. Read out one sentence from there, from today's class.
Which sentence?
Anyone, at the start of the class, whatever we did, read out quickly what you wrote.
First, we wrote that the premise and the examples, Jake's fingerprint were found. The example we wrote for the premise, conclusion, and assumption.
Okay.
And then we wrote this. Do not rephrase a premise, assumption.
Okay. Yes, Pahi, tell me any one thing which you wrote till now. Pahi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, one, we wrote that example that do not rephrase a premise, and then that three assumptions we wrote.
Okay, good, Pahi. Okay, so let's see this another argument over here. Aditya, quickly read this argument.
It has been observed that due to poverty, many children in underprivileged families work in hazardous professions such as manufacturing of fireworks.
Okay. So read the inference one.
These children are deprived of education.
Okay, second.
Manufacturers of fireworks commonly employ child labor.
Okay, and third one.
Poverty forces poor families to take significant risks with their health.
Okay, so I think it's pretty clear from here that why we are taking, what's the logic over here, Rahul? Regarding the inference, what's the logic?
Ma'am, it is basically an explicit conclusion.
Okay, that is your, whatever the thing was there, so you are bringing it from there, implied one, right? Something which is already there. So you cannot put your own assumptions over here. So that is what Aditya explained, that the first part, that you don't know if they're attending education or not, that is they're attending school or not, right? It's just a general statement. So that's the second and third are correct. So any doubt till here, Aditya, Sneha, Agrima?
So inference one is the assumption.
Yes. That's just your assumption, that's nowhere mentioned. So you can see over here the difference. I think this would be clear that it doesn't have any supporting data, whereas an inference are fully supported by the facts of the case. That is why it is being said implied. Because implied actually means it has come from something. It's not your own brain. Okay, so please write it down. Assumptions are needed to arrive. I'm just reading, okay? The first part I'm saying. Assumptions have no supporting data. Inferences are supported by the facts. We need to identify all these things in our questions. So be very careful with your theory part. Sorted. Agrima, can you explain us the second part of it?
Second part, as in the assumptions are supported
yes.
by facts.
Are needed to arrive at the conclusions. This one. Assumptions are needed to arrive at the conclusions. This one, Agrima.
Like, are you talking about the word file?
Yeah, I'm talking about the word file. You
Okay,
can.
right. Yeah. I just saw. 1 second. It's just saying that it's like you can imagine it as a diagram that first the assumption comes because you need something to get to a conclusion. I mean, you can't just make a statement based on nothing. So you have an assumption which may or may not be based on a fact, and then you come to a conclusion, and inference you derive from that conclusion that, oh, if this is the case, then this should have been the thing.
Agree. I think she's very clear. Oh, you're very logical. She's saying very clearly that, you know, how we are something which we are arriving at the conclusion, something which is already there. So these are the two things which she's talking about. Sneha, Pahi, are we clear?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's see this, what not to do when working out the inference. So you can just read out quickly. Rahul, can you read out this part, please? Premise, conclusion, and let's identify. Adish, you will tell the incorrect ones. Okay, Rahul will read.
A recent survey established that obesity is rising among children. Conclusion. Therefore, the principal of a leading school has decided to stop the sale of aerated drinks in the school cafe.
Perfect. So, Adish, if you just tell us why is it incorrect?
Because
I agree with you. That basically is just an assumption. Okay, and
keeping that drinking is and lots of obesity, so they are trying to.
so what you mean over here is not pretty clear what you said. It that is, you are you trying to say in terms of that?
Like that is one of the assumption that they are assuming that drinking added drinks will be a cause of this.
Okay, I understood your viewpoint. Rahul, what is your viewpoint? Why are they saying incorrect? Let's hear out. Let's see what is the comparison. Bring out the comparison.
Because the premise clearly state that obesity is rising, but it does not state what exactly is the reason for that. And the conclusion, we have already assumed that aerated drinks is the reason. So therefore, there's no evidence for the conclusion. It's just an assumption.
Just assumption. Okay. So you can see these also. The decision of the principal was based on the findings of the survey. Satvika. Rephrasing a conclusion. That is what the rules we wrote it. You are not supposed to rephrase a conclusion to bring out an inference. That's the second part. They're rephrasing things. Third part, The survey included only children from affluent families. How can you say that? It's just an irrelevant guess. How do you know they belong to only these families? Right? So there's something which is, you know, exactly, an irrelevant thing. Erected drinks were available in the school cafe. This is there as a fact because you know it, that is what being sold. So we have to go with something which is already there. Okay, so please remember, inference is always derived from a premise or the conclusion. Please do not derive it from your assumptions ever. Are we clear? Please remember this rule. Aditya, are we clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Before going to, you know, doing, yes, let's do some questions because too much of theory in one day. Okay, otherwise you won't remember things. Let's do some questions. Open a textbook. Let's see where we are. What all we can do till now. We come to page number 61, boys and girls. Page number 61. And the first part is you are supposed to answer the questions you have based on the information given. That is what you have to do. And you can see your question number 1. If a building has more than 3 floors, it has a lift. Which of the following statements would you be considering due to it? Exercise 1 and exercise 2. You brought volume 2. What is this? Or how will you do it? Acha, to own yourself. Aditya, you have your textbook, right?
Ma'am, I have volume 1. Nobody told us that we have to bring volume 2.
Ari, we discussed that we are doing critical reasoning in the next class.
I didn't very well.
Now what to do, Aditya?
Ma'am, you can screen share the EPDF.
Agrima?
Yes, ma'am.
Agrima, do you have a PDF with you?
The PDF, yes, but I'm using the hard copy, the book.
Do you have it? Can you send it on email or something? Is it possible?
Yeah, sure. Could you share the email ID?
Yeah, you can directly with Aditya. Sneha, you have a textbook there, right?
Mom, you can share it.
I mean, even I have the EPDF.
Have the PDF.
Yes, I have it on my phone. No, I am saying that you can, Agrima can share it on the meeting.
Then our meetings then.
All right.
Guys, We should not spend a lot of time in this. It's pretty simple. Exercise 1. Let's say, let's time it out. Till 11 o'clock, let's finish it up. Till 11:05 maximum, 15 minutes. Practice exercise 1 and 2. What do I need to do now? What do I need to do? Where is it? Where has she shared? Agrima, you haven't shared yet?
No, ma'am, I was finding the files. Just a minute. I found. I'll share.
Okay, okay. Till that time. Aditya, you have your PDF file, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's on my phone.
Yeah, you continue at least till then.
Okay, ma'am.
Let's not waste time.
This page number.
Page number 61.
Okay.
Till the time, when Agrima you share it, please let us know. Otherwise, let's not waste time. You continue with your work, then you will be, and you guys take this. Okay? Everything is sorted, Agrima, you can leave it. Please do your work.
Okay.
11:05, we need to finish. Okay. You want.
Completed, ma'am.
Oh. Okay, we'll wait 2 minutes that everyone completed, then we should discuss. Thank you, Agrima. Now can we discuss parking, Sneha? Okay, so your first one, it says the located buildings having 2 to 8 floors. If a building has more than 3 floors, it has a lift. Which of these do you think must be true? We participate first. Which one do you think, Aditya? Question number 1.
Ma'am, B.
B for Bombay. Buildings, okay. First option is wrong, second is right. 7th floor have lifts. Okay. B, question number 2, some men are definitely intelligent, others are definitely not intelligent. But of intermediate men, we should say intelligent. Yes, I think so or no. I should be inclined to call him intelligent. Which of them does it reflect the intention of the writer well? Rahul?
Mama, I think option A.
To call men intelligent were not striking, this must be used the concept of undue increase. Okay. Because the second, third, fourth cannot be there because it has some vagueness and fine, perfect. And the third one is based on a situation, and you have to read out the situation and then you have to. Sneha, can you read out the situation, please, quickly?
Between 1960 and 1970, ivory poachers in the African nation of Zimbabwe killed over 6,500 elephants. During that period, the total elephant population in Zimbabwe fell from about 35,000 to just under 30,000. In 1970, new anti-poaching measures were implemented in Zimbabwe, and between 1970 and 1980, over 800 poachers were arrested and expelled from the country. Nevertheless, by 1980, the elephant population in Zimbabwe had fallen to about 21,000.
Okay. So you have to explain something which will explain the situation above. Which one do you think, Sneha?
Ma'am, I think D.
Option D.
Yes, ma'am, D.
I think it's right. What do you think, Paki?
Yes, ma'am, I think last one.
Okay, Paki, read the next one.
If highways were restricted to cars and only those trucks with capacity of less than 8 tons, most of the truck traffic would be forced to run outside highways. Such a reduction in the amount of truck traffic would reduce the risk of collisions on highways.
If the conclusion depends on which of the following ones. Yeah, one, C. Paki, what's your answer?
Ma'am, I think the third option, option C.
Third option. That is your most trucks that are currently running in highway have a capacity of more than 8 tons. I think it's fine, Mansi. It's fine. Mansi, this fifth one, read out the fifth one. A highly cohesive work group is a present for this highway, yes. Highly cohesive group as a thing, it is it for high performance. So shall just point out that the association between success and group cohesion goes to the support individual. Yeah, goes to the support individual team members, give to one another and acceptance of the group's activities and I think so. This might of Japanese labs that accept function, like which is not supporting the argument. A group of Japanese researchers found that the successful work teams were led by dominant fields. It is have no kind of data to worry about. Okay, then you see question number 5. Aditya, please read out question number 5.
A highly cohesive work group is a prerequisite for high team performance. Sociologists point out that the association between success and group cohesion owes to the support individual team members give to one another and their acceptance of the group's activities and goals.
What's your question number 5, son? 5 answer?
A.
A.
Yes, because all the other option C and option D are indicating they support the statement, and option B, I guess, is general statement.
Yes, option A. Okay. Rahul, what's the answer for option 6? Question number 6.
Oh, ma'am, should I know? Like directly say the answer or read the question?
Yes, read out the answer.
Oh, ma'am, I think none of these. Option D.
Okay, option D. Question number 7. Agrima, if highways were restricted to cars and they're talking about less than 8 tons, such a reduction in the amount of truck traffic reduces the risk of collision. So what do you think is the true statement over here? Which one?
The question 7 is D.
Okay. And you can see the next directions for the question, that is your identify the best correct answer. And Sneha, offshore oil drilling operations involve an unavoidable risk. And then they're talking about lessen the risk of an oil spill. So we should invest. What do you think? Which one is it true? So basically, see, weakens the argument above. Which one? Question number 8.
Ma'am, eighth one, na?
Yes.
Ma'am, B.
Okay. That is that they use entails. Okay. Adesh, question number 9. In terms of purchasing power parity, rural households have more purchasing power than the urban and suburban households. So what do you think? Which one would be question number 9? Which option? Rural households have lower housing and okay. Party, question number 10. In contrast to the earlier predictions, you have the demand for sugarcane. And then they're talking about sugarcane growers increase their profits more than 10%.
Option A.
D. Okay. Many small sugarcane growers join the
No, A.
many sugar. In contrast to the earlier predictions, demand for sugarcane has not risen in the recent years. Even the production amounts and prices have also been stable. So they're talking about stability. Then they're talking about increasing the profits. Boys and girls, you know this strategy, that within the paragraph you have to identify the keywords. Okay, so do underline your keywords over there in your exam. It will be underlined. That is, my keywords are not rising, stable, 10%, growers increase. Then I'm seeing the best. So we are talking in terms of the prices. That's why if Paki says B, I agree with Paki. Paki, that is higher it had been during the previous year. Anushka Chadha.
I'm the coordinator.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Now, Rekha ma'am was also there, no? So I just thought that.
Okay. I thought Rekha is not there. Okay. Okay, then I will leave.
So how to pay what come? Yes, explain the rights of profits. Yes, help explain the rights of profits, except this doesn't tell you about the profits, this tells you about the prices. Got it? Price, it tells about the price and not the profit. What is the ninth one? Ninth one would be B, B for Bombay. Okay, boys and girls, just check this. Have we done finding inference? Have we done the theory of finding inference? From where does the inference, from where do we draw the inference? From the premise. Agrima, from where do we draw the inference?
From the premise.
Premise, or if not premise, then
Conclusion.
conclusion. Very good. So this second exercise is based on that. Practice exercise 2. Can you all see that, Aditya? Rahul? Yeah. So see practice exercise 3 to find the conclusion. Can you see that finding conclusion? Practice exercise 3. Rahul, how do you find the conclusion?
Oh, the conclusion.
Yes.
With the help of the assumption. No, the assumption validates the conclusion, right?
Okay. So what's your logic for finding the conclusion?
On the basis of evidence, probably.
Very good. So on the basis of the premise, isn't it? Rahul, on the basis of the premise.
Yes, ma'am. On the basis of premise.
On the basis of the premise, find the conclusion. So why I'm asking you all these things, guys, is because just want to understand and cover the theory part of it. Okay, so we have done the theory part of practice exercise 3. Now see this practice exercise 4. Now see, we have done the theory part of this. This is just you know, a typical base summary. And you just have to identify what summarizes the above paragraph. So again, the strategy would be identifying the keywords. Okay. Sneha, you clear? So let's see practice exercise 5. We haven't done the theory of this, right? Or sentence out. Have we done the theory of this? No. Okay, see practice exercise 6. Sentence replacement theory isn't done. Done? Done or not done? Why even here? We did it or not today? Today's class. Class. Okay. Sentence replacement thought. See practice exercise 7. Okay, assumption, conclusions. Can you all see the assumption, questions, and conclusions? So, Rahul, what is the strategy of assumption-based questions? Assumptions may lead to. What is an assumption? What is
Oh,
an-
anything you draw out, or like without any facts, without any premise.
Aditya, have you done the theory of this? Have you understood what is assumption?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what we haven't done till now is I want to give the it is no. You're doing it in the class, I'm just trying to identify. It's a lot. And then see page number 84. Can you all see para completion questions? Sneha, can you see page number 84? Para completion questions. We haven't done the theory for this. So what I'm trying to say in short is that we are only left with the theory of sentence completion, odd man out, and all these things. Now you guys tell me what Nandini ma'am told me is that she has covered the strategies for this. Is it true? Or you guys true in the sense, I know it's true. I mean, is it true in the sense you want me to repeat or you don't want me to? This is what I'm trying to ask. And I need everyone to be in. Okay. So what she told me is para jumper and para completion strategies are already taught. Yes, Pali, do you want me to repeat those things? That is the odd man out strategies and all. I mean, I haven't done it, right? But ma'am told me that she did it. But if you guys want it, I don't mind in doing it because we have time to that. Okay, because tomorrow's class is also based on critical reasoning. So I'm okay. You guys tell me what do you want.
Oh, ma'am, could you repeat that?
Rahul, I'm just asking that the para completion questions are also there in critical reasoning.
No, I'm saying, could you, like what you said, that could you again explain it?
You mean that I should do the topic?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, I'll do that. Perfect. This is what I want you to understand. And if you want me, I'll do it. What's all the questions tomorrow? Para completion. I'll do those strategies also. So what I'm trying to understand is that the whole critical reasoning, I'll take it up. Like we have done half of it. Like basically 70% of it we have covered today. 30% we are taking it tomorrow. Okay, because I don't want you to get confused with all the strategies in one day because we have 2 classes in hand. Critical reasoning. Day after tomorrow, Wednesday, let's be clear, you bring your volume 2 only because we are doing RC, reading comprehension. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday is tomorrow, today is this, Tuesday is critical reasoning, and Wednesday is your RC. Okay, so we have 2 more hours for critical reasoning. So we'll wind up everything. In case you guys feel that you just need some more help in critical reasoning, you feel. Okay, so what we can do is we can cut short RC. Because RC is really simple. I mean, you grasp it. In case you still feel and take an extra thing, but I don't think it's required. But if you want it, we'll do it. Okay, so you have to take a call. So otherwise, will ensure that you'll do it by tomorrow, all the strategies. Clear? So what we can do is, my suggestion would be, let's do the exercises today. Let's finish up whatever we have done the strategies today, and the new strategies questions will do tomorrow. Sounds good to you all? Bani, are you good with that? Agrima? So let's do exercise 2. Yes. Come to exercise 2, page number 64. You want me to do it? No, I don't have control to this. No. Aditya, you must be having control for this.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can just scroll up, please.
$62, right?
Yes. $64. Are you getting it? So 64 is your finding inference. Again, it is derived from the premise or conclusion or both. That is what we discussed today. Guys, 30 seconds each question. Come on. Finished? How fast finished?
I did it. It was not happening.
I would
That's why I
say
thought
third.
we have to right now.
Do third exercise. No answers to the same. I don't have control of that. Aditya, are you following the screen? I mean, are you doing your answers from the screen only?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then keep scrolling down for them also, okay?
Then I would start at that point. discussions with feelings.
I have completed with the questions.
Complete the questions. You also done? Okay, then we can discuss. You
So,
guys are.
ma'am, one
Okay.
question, ma'am. We just had to do exercise 2, or did we have to do more?
No, exercise 2. Let's just quickly discuss exercise 2. Okay. Can you just scroll up, please, Aditya, for them? They don't have the textbook. Days inflation to topple government scale gone, not time for government to worry about oil prices. Inflation dropped primarily due to fall in the price of essential food items. It would should not leave inflation. Government runs down as a control about the situation of the economy past. Changed. Government is not having a response to oil inflation rates in the country. Agrima, what do you think? What is the paragraph based on? Which fact?
About inflation, inflation having dropped and the prices of goods having reduced.
Perfect. So it's basically about the falling inflation, right? So if I say option, which one, guys?
See.
Yes, because they are saying in terms of dropped in November as compared to October. So if we look at this line, it's revolving around dropped in October. So there's a kind of a comparison which is coming up. So that's why we go with Agrima's answer. That's C. Okay. Question number 2, Rahul. Post alliances between parties and they're talking about the realities, easier to form, reconcile results of the assembly elections. Congress in pre-election announces support of the party in MP and Rajasthan. So we have to identify the style of the writing. What do you think, Rahul?
Oh, I think option C.
Because they're explaining that what exactly happened with Congress and the Bahujan Party.
And political is not a style of writing, I guess.
The political would have been there if they are talking in terms of the following things also, but they are not talking in terms of that. They're just talking in terms of the partners, results, and all these things. Commentary. Okay, explanatory is much more detailed. Commentary would be based on a certain what do you call it? Yes. And also there will be some attached examples to it. So the third one talks about your reserve bank and they talk about your resigning reasons, events. It was a period when we sent in RBI were engaged in a tussle over there some issues. Mr. Patel had to preserve, sought to preserve. Pani, what do you think?
The third one, right?
Third one, yes.
I guess option E, ma'am.
Okay, tell me what is autocratic? Autocratic would be what type of, how would you identify autocratic?
Authoritative.
Yes, authoritative. Synthetic. Guys, can I suggest you something, please? It's very important for your exams. Can you just write down all these kind of writing in your notebook, and I'll give you the keywords for this to identify? Because otherwise in exams it will be really a problematic thing. If you just write down and I'll give you the things. Okay. You just write down number 1, political. Second, commentary. Write in the same notes, okay? Political, commentary. Third, explanatory. Excruciating. Number 4, autocratic. Aditya, you're writing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll give you the keywords for this, okay? Synthetic. Or the example, something I'll give you. Okay. And write down this C, D, functional, synthetic, autocratic, synthetic, functional. Till functional you write down.
Why are we writing these words?
I will give you the keywords for this because I don't want you guys to get confused in exams. Okay, which type of passage is this? I'll give you how to identify. Okay. Aditya, is that okay? You want something else?
No, ma'am.
Do you guys know the meanings of these words? Question number 4. A, B, C, D. No. Write down the heading word meanings. Write down these 4 words.
Ma'am, I have a question. Out of the how many styles of writing did you give in total? Like, could you repeat all of them?
I will. What I will do is from papers only. Also, I'll see once. If in case we have left something. Okay, we'll just do it out today. Answers I'll give you tomorrow. Okay, because I'll explain the story part now. Anyways, I have to explain sentence completion order now. With that only I'll cover.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 you have written now. You guys wrote 8. Yes. 8 so far is done. And in front of word meanings, under word meanings, please write down these 4. I think restraint is simple. Restraint is spirit is also but you can still write ACT. Because something is just tricky. ACT Adesh. Write it down in your notebook. I'm sorry. Yeah, word meanings is something. If you can go down, please scroll down, Aditya. For question number 5, yeah. Opinion of the author. This is clear, optimistic, bias, illness. This is pretty simple. I'm just trying identifying the tough ones again. Question number 6 also, see if there's anything tough. Yeah. 6, 7, 8, 9, then you guys are comfortable. Now let's discuss the answers. This part I'll take it tomorrow. I'll make you write this where I don't put it. Okay. Okay, see question number 3 we did now. Question number 4. Agrima, can you tell me the answer to question number 4?
Ma'am, it's 8.
Okay. Aditya, question number 5. Mahindra decision to resign. I think he's very optimistic. Yes, Aditya. What's your answer?
C.
Optimistic. Yes. Question number 6. Pani. They're talking in terms of the derivative markets. fast-paced changes, regulatory control, new high growth phase,
Ma'am, option B.
entry will be a part of the whole communal sector to the market regulation. I didn't get it. Which one, dear?
D.
She's saying none of the above.
No, D. D for dog.
Equal dog. Market regulators should be very strict regarding governing the segment even after the expansion of this market. Because it cannot afford to lower its guard yet. Okay, so there is okay inference attached to it. Fine. And fine. Satvika, question number 7.
I don't think,
Okay, what does this mean?
I think it means you being focused on one aspect.
What is the one aspect which you talk about?
Loan waivers and general stress.
Okay, what is the meaning of the C1 and the B1? Guys, please find out the meaning and the word meanings you wrote it. These 5 words.
No, but B means between which is stubborn.
Please write down these 5 words under the word meanings. Okay. Aditya, what do you think? What's the meaning of the first one, A part?
Noisy.
Okay, B.
I don't know.
Stubborn. Satvika said it.
No.
You're just collecting the answers. Third one, Rahul, what's your answer for this? What does it mean? You can check, you can use Google. It's okay.
Yeah, like childish, self,
Which one?
petulant.
What about the C one, Rahul? Adish, find out.
I'm affected with something.
Affected with something, impacting me. Okay, the fourth one.
Something like obsessed with something or exaggerate.
Exaggerated. Now read out the paragraph and then answer, guys. So they're talking in terms of the Indian agriculture. Okay, they're talking in terms of the price support. Double in the next 5 or 7 years. It should extend to increasing productivity. A multi-crisis influencer calls for a broad-based response. Which among the following can be inferred from the passage regarding solutions employed by the Indian government for solving the problems? So what do you guys think now? Now that you know the meaning. D. Satvika says D. Aditya, what's your answer?
C.
C. Why C? Because it is.
Ma'am, astigmatism means you are not able to see clearly. You have a defect of vision.
I understand.
I mean, it is only one subject all over as agriculture.
Yeah. As I said, first you should know the meanings exactly.
The answer is C. Why the
Really?
Astigmatism means an eye defect, means you can only see one direction clearly. Your parallel vision is not as clear. So for the government, they are only focusing on waivers and price support. They are not able to see simultaneously that there are other
Impact.
that they can do.
Okay. Yes. And how about question number 8? It cannot be denied that this government has managed to bring informal economy to the format fold. And you can also see the organized private sector output has increased. It has reduced inaccurate estimates. Size of the service sector economy was overstated in the past. Attitude of the present government towards the informal sectors of the economy. What do you guys think? Anyone? Pali, Sneha, Rahul, Agrima, Aditya?
Comprehensive.
Comprehensive. How you made it comprehensive? Like what made you decide?
Like it's talking about the informal economy coming into the formal, and it's asked the question asked what is the government's attitude regarding the like towards the informal sector. So they're looking to include them into formal. So that's why comprehensive, that like completely taking it into account and bringing it together as one.
Perfect. Question number 9. Aditya, question number 9.
I didn't know the meaning of any of these words. I couldn't figure out this answer.
Deceitful? Come on, you must be knowing this.
Yeah, deceitful I know, but I don't think the answer is deceitful. And even derisive means you are making fun of it, but maybe either of A or B, I don't know.
Okay,
I
and
don't know.
A1,
Keeping secrets.
secrets, okay, the C, and then how about the fourth one?
Complaining continuously.
Okay, so do you guys think so that it may come up from any of these things? Are they trying to do anything like that? Because what I feel is that they're being very straightforward over here, that they're talking in terms of Bitcoin, and which is of course the most popular one.
They're just saving themselves from the loss.
So what are we going with? Which option? Satvika says E. Okay.
Yes,
Sneha,
ma'am. E.
Yes.
Sneha, are you there? Agrima, can you read out the question number 10?
Yes, ma'am. Though the Ministry of Civil Aviation has promised to review the web check-in policies of airlines after the, I'm not sure about the pronunciation, fracas, it should review the entire gamut of unbundled airline services so that basic terms of service are left in no doubt.
Promise to review, should review this, that basic terms are not left in doubt. The attitude of the author. Due to course of action to solve the unfair change charges by airlines. Do you think so? He's somewhere not ready to do something? Like they
Yeah.
say,
Yeah, I find it should be like be thorough because they're like they promise to review all the web check-in and everything. So
It's not just stating national country. They should also be unbundled airline services. That is the exception that function.
promise to review after this phase. Okay, what is the answer? She says B. It should be very so the issue which I'm calling the attitude of the author regarding the boost fraction. So they should unfair charges by follow. Okay. Yes. Agree with you. Agree. Any doubt in here? Okay, now let's do one thing. Last 5 minutes. Go to Google quickly. Whatever difficult words you wrote today in the class, these meanings you can just quickly find out and let's discuss. Okay.
What did we say? First,
You have to find out on your own. He's saying
as a guide or research, it's actually start asking artism and discovering I was like
Building website is there. You search at Aston Martin meaning, which having a very good restaurant. It has the meaning.
because word meaning something I don't know. I can give examples for that. But these writing things I You guys have 5 minutes. Pahi, Agrima, Rahul, quickly finish off the word meanings and then we'll discuss. Finish guys, can we discuss? Yeah. You read it. Can't read this word. Okay, Mansi is reading it out, guys. Let's discuss and put up our opinion if we have any other. Pahi, read out your first 4 words quickly and their meanings. First 2.
Excruciating, intensely painful, and apathetic, lack of interest or desire to act.
Okay, Agrima, any 2 words quickly?
Autocratic is a ruler who has absolute power or somebody who has no consideration of others' views or opinions. And opprobrious of language expressing scorn or criticism.
Good. Rahul, any 2 words which Agrima and Pahi have not covered?
Scurrilous means humorously insulting.
Okay.
And did she do opprobrious? Opprobrious.
Okay. Aditya, any 2 quickly?
Presbyopia is an eye disease. It affects your straight eye vision. And monomaniacal means obsession about one thing only.
Satika, they've left something. Mansi,
There is one is done secretly.
I'm sorry.
Surreptitious.
In
Okay.
the last there's a word surreptitiously. The last question, it means it was sincere.
Okay. Anything else is left? Adesh, you want to add something? Everything is covered? Sneha, are you there? Okay. Are we guys clear with the meanings? Any doubt? Okay, writing part we'll do tomorrow. Okay, those keywords or something we'll identify. If you feel, I'll only check. Forget it. I'll check if there are other types which are coming in exam papers. You also read out once. I mean, you just give a glance in case you find something. Okay, I also do it. So at least we figure out everything and we write it. Okay, see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys. And one more thing, before you leave, I don't prefer to give homework, but I'm really sorry. This is something, otherwise we won't be able to finish. Just do exercise 3. I'm not asking you much. Okay, so just to page number 67, practice exercise 3. It won't take much time. It's just a 5 minutes thing. Okay, we can do it today.
Ma'am,
Yes, please.
you were to give us worksheets for solving it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Don't worry about it. I'll just complete these things and I'll do that. Okay, after this.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, it's already given for typing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Aditi.
ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye-bye.